to my channel. So today I wanted to show you different resources and tools you can use as a nurse practitioner. And if you haven't already, check out my previous video where I talk about different apps that you can use as well. Okay, so the first resource I want to show you are these dermatology resources. So there's an adult one and a pediatric one. And as you can see, it has common rashes that you will come across in primary care or urgent care. And it also have information about physical findings, how to treat it, key findings. So lots of information with these two resources. The pediatric resource is similar as well. It just kind of course, shows more diagnoses and issues that you'll find in the pediatric population. So once again, it shows you treatment, information about the rash, key findings for that rash. So this is a really helpful resource with lots of pictures and information. So it's a must-have. So the next resource I want to show you, you can actually get these as a bundle pack, and I'll link the information in the description box below. But this is an antibiotic resource, so it tells you information about like the antibiotic coverage, the class, the different types of antibiotic in that class. So like, once again, a very helpful resource. So this resource is actually separate from the other two I'm going to show, but this one I got off of Amazon, and it's good if you work with the pediatric population. It kind of shows you developmental milestones and safety and teaching things that you should be going over with parents for a certain age group or pediatric population. So this next resource I'm going to show, I use pretty much on a regular basis to double check myself. So this is the pediatric antibiotic guide. As you can see here, it gives you information about how many milliliters you need to give, the dosage calculations, and then the total milliliters that you need to dispense based off that patient's weight, and of course for whichever antibiotic that you're prescribing. This next resource that I'm going to show is the last one in the bundle that you can buy. Once again, all that information will be in this description box below. So this gives you information of different topical steroids you can use according to the potency. Once again, it'll also show you how much you can dispense depending on which body part you're using the steroid for and how long the treatment is. So once again, it's just a really helpful quick reference. This resource I got off of Amazon. So as you can see, it kind of gives you information about the skeletal system, muscular system, and joints and ligaments. So I think it's a good resource to kind of have nearby that you might need to refer to sometime. This next reference I use if you need some assistance with reading EKGs. Of course, you need a basic knowledge of how to interpret EKGs, but this is a good reference to have as well. Okay, this next reference is if you do DOT exams at your clinic. So this is a good resource to have. I'm also going to give information about a website that you can use. It's a subscription that you can pay for, but I have found it to be very helpful when doing my DOT physical exams. This next resource is the 5-minute Pediatric Consult. If you haven't checked out my previous video where I talk about different apps that are helpful to use in the clinic, please check that out. But this is the textbook format of that app, which of course the focus is on pediatrics and different differential diagnoses that you'll come across while working with the pediatric population. It's very thorough and gives a lot of information about how to treat, how to work up, and how to manage certain diagnoses. I know this is a weird resource to have on hand, but it's still helpful. You can never practice too much suturing, so I like to keep this on hand to just continue to practice my skills. So you can get this off of Amazon as well as all the tools that you need. So these next few resources are for my urgent care peeps. Ortho and procedures, I would say, is some of the most things that you'll see when working in this setting. So these are some helpful resources. So as you can see, it's pretty self-explanatory. Each book kind of gives you information about how to work up certain injuries, whether it's fractures or ligament and tendon issues. This book is more on fractures, where the other book that I just showed is more about ligament and tendon injuries. Well, once again, like I said, they're both very helpful and they're both something that I refer to. Like I mentioned earlier, if you look at my previous video where I showed apps that I use, you can also download certain apps if you prefer to use apps. But I used this, and I got this off of Amazon, and I just downloaded it on Kindle. Procedures. I feel like procedures is probably one of the biggest learning curves if you are not used to doing them. in the urgent care. So this book is very helpful on showing you how to treat or work up or follow-up directions for many procedures that will occur while working in the urgent care setting. If you're searching, you'll see that there are many different procedure books and resources out there, but this is just the one that I use. And I also have another one that I refer back to sometimes that I use while in nursing school, so I'll show that one later. It'll also show some common diagnoses that you'll encounter while in practice. So like I said, it's a helpful book. This is probably one of my favorite procedure books. And then like I said, I'm going to show you the one I used when I was in nursing school right after this one. These are the 3 books that I kept around while I was in nurse practitioner school. So this one is current. They update this every year, and as it shows, it gives you the latest information about every diagnosis that you can think of. Then this is my dermatology book that I use, which I feel like you can never have too many dermatology resources because rashes just seem to be so hard to get when you're first starting off. And this is just a look at how current looks on the inside. As you can see, it's very detailed. It gives you information about treatment findings, and this is the procedure book that I use. So I hope you enjoyed this video about resources you can use as a nurse practitioner. Stay tuned for future videos, and thanks for watching.